it's so bad here in America that I think people are like, good riddance, and I think it's not like, I don't know if you see a big difference here if Christians stop tomorrow.
Then yeah, we've got a major problem.
All right, so Hollywood shuts down. So you guys knew that the writers had already been striking for a couple weeks now, but just recently, the actors just started striking as well. So that has some impacts on Hollywood in general, movies that are coming out, such and such. But I also have an interesting question I want to add to this that I think may be more relevant to us as Christians. Yeah. But essentially, they're not happy with the way streaming has kind of taken over. Their contracts don't reflect the streaming numbers and how things have changed over to streaming. And they're worried about the effects of AI. They're worried about smaller writing rooms and just the overall well-being of writers and actors in the new economy of movies. So that got me thinking, right? So they're striking in order to get their demands met. And the reason striking works is because writers and actors have value in Hollywood, and if they don't show up to work, things don't get done. That's the premise, right? So I was talking to Ryan, and I was like, what if Christians went on strike? What would happen? Not boycott. You know, we always talk about Christian boycotts. You're gonna boycott this, boycott that. I'm not talking about boycotts. I'm talking about strike. And this is why I'm asking this. You know how the Bible says we're the salt of the earth, and literally us being here adds value to the earth. That if we weren't here, it would be obvious that there's something wrong. The earth would start to rot. Literally, salt preserves, right? So what if we went on strike and did not do what Christians do on this earth? Would anybody even notice?
Would they miss us?
Would we even be missed on the earth? So that's kind of two things. What do they not realize we're providing?
Shout out to Prophet Josiah.
And what do we assume we provide that we really haven't been stepping up and doing?
So I spoke up for me and Jeremiah, and I said, if Chick-fil-A goes on strike, we got a problem. And Sean was like, nobody would miss Chick-fil-A. You agree with that, Jeremiah?
I think a lot of people miss Chick-fil-A.
That's not what I said. But my whole reason for asking this is, as I'm watching the actors and writers strike, if Christians went on strike, are we really doing what we think we're doing? Would the world even miss our presence? And that got me thinking, like, okay, what do Christians actually provide to the world? Now, one thing that's obvious, a lot of nonprofits are Christian based.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of, people who give freely of themselves because they love Jesus. And we're not the only ones. Yeah. We're not the only ones, but a lot of nonprofits are based on Christian values. So if Christianity was pulled out of the earth, there would be a huge effect on philanthropy in the earth, right?
Missions.
Somebody said in the comments that's called the Rapture.
That's what I'm referring to. That's what I'm referring to.
Missionary work.
Right. That's what I'm referring to. I'm trying to get you in the mindset of what would happen in the rapture, but just like relating it to the writer's strike. So what do Christians actually provide to the world?
Jeremiah.
What would be missing?
Jeremiah.
I had this conversation with him yesterday. I couldn't come up with that.
Which is sad.
I would say, I think you said mission work. I think you're saying, I was about to say love, but I think love has been so twisted that you don't know what real love is based off of anymore. Because I don't think people go to the Bible about what real love is. So it would be hard. But I think charity, mission work. I think being the community, like being there for your community, that like churches do. Yeah. I think those things will probably be missed. But overall, I think we're such, and maybe, you know what? Maybe because we live in America, in other countries, other things are being impacted, like, in Asia, underground churches are moving and making disciples, and they're discipling people, and they're getting new converts. So maybe that will be impacted very bad, and like overseas. But here in America, I think it's so bad here in America that I think people are like, good riddance, and I think it's not like, I don't know if you see a big difference here if Christians stop tomorrow. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think some stuff will happen where, like, if I rely on a church to help a community or a church help people out, then you'll see that effect. But I think as an individual, I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what will happen.
I mean, because that's the whole premise of the rapture, right?
Yeah.
The premise of the rapture is Christians are going to be pulled out of the earth, and the earth is going to deteriorate. There's other things happening too, but the earth deteriorates when we're not in it. Is that true? Are we having the impact we think we are supposed to be having?
I don't think our businesses are, but I think our body is. I think the body of Christ is having more impact than the businesses because the world doesn't 100%, frequent businesses that we have established. But I think that the body of Christ, I think if, you remove, like what Jeremiah said, the fruits of the Spirit, then we've got a major problem.
This is what I'm worried about. Tashism, she said, in America, I'm afraid people will think things would be better. That's what it feels like to me now. I feel like America feels like Christians are the problem with the world, not the solution to the problems in the world.
I know.
How do we get to that place?
I didn't get to chime in on Sound of Freedom, but a lot of the articles I read were like, "Oh, this is Christians being Christians, trying to pull the wool over your eyes and make you see something that's really not there." And so I feel like, and I was sitting there and I was thinking about, like, I wonder when there was a time where Christianity and the church and God were like revered by the community to the point where people were like, the outcasts were like, yo, I can't even show my face. I'm not going to church on Sunday. I can't even go to the market on Monday morning. I didn't go to church. So to me, that's the biggest fear is like, I feel like them pushing us out is going to make them feel like their world has gotten better. Scary thought.
So to me, that's an indictment on us in a way, but it's also an indictment on the world not realizing our value, right? So on one hand, not realizing our value, and we could try to find more examples of that. But I'm worried that some of this is our fault, that we're not being salt in the earth. We're not really providing the value that we think we do. That's right. Maybe us just, coming on a podcast with a mic and complaining about the world is not actually providing value. Maybe value is feeding people, giving people clothes, helping people when they're sick, visiting them in jail. Like maybe we've gotten away from the practical aspects of helping people, that all they see us as is talking heads yelling at them.
How does that go, like, saying with the list you just dropped, how do you do that that's not, like, work-based, if you get what I'm saying? Like,
this has nothing to do with salvation.
No, but what I'm saying is, at the same time, it could go to that point because the trick of the enemy could be like, you're doing something, and you may not be doing anything, but you're doing something. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes people think in Christendom that I'm doing this,
yeah,
and it's basically like works. Like I feel good because I'm doing this work, and that's your reward because you feel good doing that work.
What's interesting about works, is works do not equal salvation.
Yeah.
They are the product of salvation.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have to be afraid of works.
Yeah.
As long as you're not thinking that you can work your way to heaven.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
But I think that's a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans think, and some Christians think, I'm working for God and I'm doing this good work, so I'm gonna make it into heaven. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's false. So, and the other thing is, which I think you hinted at, is that the Bible also says you're supposed to do this. A lot of what you do should be in secret.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I think about people like who's big on YouTube right now, Mr. Beast, the only thing that makes me like, wow, that's really good what he's doing. The only thing that makes me nervous, and why I think a lot of Christians, and probably me, and maybe an excuse, but a lot of reason why we don't do things like that as much is because it feels very showy and outward.
It does.
Where it feels like you're supposed to do that without bringing attention to yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in his defense, he's bringing attention to himself so he could do it again.
Yeah.
But it just feels like a conflict between what Jesus said about giving, and you're not even supposed to let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, and vice versa, right? So I think that's where we get a little confused.
But he's not doing that based off of faith. He's doing that based off of trying to get people back into the ecosystem, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, I think listening to him, he is doing it for the most part out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah.
Like, remember, he started out in a Christian school, and I think maybe that kind of gave him the idea. Since then, he's obviously left that path, but I don't think he personally is doing it to get famous or to get rich, right? But
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's that funnel. He's trying to get people to go back down that funnel. If you get what I'm saying, for his YouTube clicks, because I mean that's how you get paid.
That's what I'm saying. No, I don't think he's doing it for that reason. I don't think he's doing it. But it's hard to not think about that when we're always taught as Christians you're not supposed to just show everybody what you're giving and showing everybody what you're doing. So it is feel like a little bit of a conflict. So all that to say is that, are we as Christians doing what we're actually supposed to be doing on this earth, or have we just turned into the people who complain about everything and not really help?
But what if okay, so for example, what about us? What if we are supposed to do this? This is what we're supposed to do, so we can equip whoever's watching, so they can go and equip and do their purpose.
Absolutely,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not like you can't negate what other people are doing. I say as Christians as a whole, if people was to say, man, them Christians left on some like Thanos type stuff, and we can get to sin more. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what people, like you said, their mentality is we get to sin more and more, and now we have no quote unquote moral lack to do so anybody will stop us. You get what I'm saying? Like I think that's what they would think, but I think for us, sometimes we think that we're stopping evil, but we don't realize God is still in control, if you get what I'm saying.
I had a question.
Yeah.
The Christians in your company, like if you were to look around, this is a poll question for anybody, guys. That's the question. The Christians in your company, or people that identify to you or opened up and said they are Christians, is their impact that they're making at the company, or are they blending in with the rest of the workers?
Can you even tell?
Right, because this happened to me right after I left my job. My job brought in a witch to teach a seminar. No, to teach a seminar, and people were upset about it.
Go in that room.
It wasn't a massive movement of the Christians to be like, we won't tolerate this.
Right.
And I wonder now if that voice has been quenched because of all the different things that they have said that we're against. So can we not say anything anymore?
But
to make an impact.
Using your whole thing, what you just asked, like at my job, it was a lady and she had a nice heart, sweet. She'd pray for you, everything, but then people got tired of her. You know what I'm saying? Not because of her stance, but because like it felt like a show sometimes, and it felt like religious more than you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, that's the double-edged sword, because for her, she is just praising, like she's giving God her praise, but then for other people, it may feel like you praising God, but then also you talking about somebody over there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like,
so that's kind of what my question is. I feel like when we think of being Christians, we think of being police officers.
Yeah,
like, that's wrong. Stop doing that. Yeah. That's wrong. Don't do that anymore. These people are evil.
Yeah,
and we do that here as well. But have we gotten away from being doctors and nurses? You know what I mean? Like, where people see us as, wow, I don't agree with them, but I love them, man. They're so kind. They're so gentle. They're helpful. They care about my family. They pray for me. Do they see us as that anymore, or do they solely see us as finger wagging?
I think the last time I've had a situation like that was when I was talking to some Jehovah's Witness that came to my house, and we was going back and forth, and I asked them to pray for them and everything. They didn't want to pray. I was like, okay, well, get off my porch. But the lady was like, you was the nicest Christian I ever met. I was like, okay. She was like, because you didn't like just be rude to us. Because I didn't like try to entertain them, but I was just having a conversation and dialogue and going back and forth. And I think sometimes you never know what that could do for people. But at the same time, I think also we have to be on guard, and we have to be about our Father's business. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I want to ask, this is my real question. Okay, I've been talking about, Christians as police officers, which is necessary. Christians as doctors and nurses, which is necessary. But how many times are we actually just simply doing this? Do you know about Jesus? Do you want me to talk to you about Jesus?
Yeah.
Are you interested? Do you want to get saved right now?
Yeah.
Let me pray with you.
Yeah.
Come to church with me. Yeah. How often do we do that literal?
It's got to be, you got to lead up to that.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing.
Are we so concerned with being weird or coming off that we don't actually do the actual witnessing part?
Yeah.
We do all the, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, but we never do the do you want to know Jesus part.
Can you lead people into Jesus, or do you have to go to your pastor?
You're supposed to be able to do it yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, if somebody you was at racetrack, your tire went out or whatever, and you talking to somebody and something happened, and could you lead people to Jesus right there on the spot?
So the issue is, and you bring up racetrack, it's funny you bring up racetrack, that's where I get approached by the most of the Jehovahs Witnesses at the racetrack gas station. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I see them coming, and I'm like, the gas station is really a hard place to stop somebody and have a conversation because most people are in like.
No, I'm not talking about Jehovah's Witness. I'm talking about if you, let's say you change somebody's tire or you help somebody out, and they were in a bad place, and they was like, and they asked you,
coffee store.
Yes. So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You have to use discernment for that. You have to, because
my question is that an excuse to not do it? We're like, well, I gotta use discernment. I don't want to look weird.
I will say this.
Are we constantly doing that?
You have to be cautious with it, because I was coming out of a grocery store one day and a man pulled me aside and was like, hey, I think you need to know Jesus. Let me tell you about him. And I'm sitting there like, okay. And then I start talking to him and telling him, that I'm a witness too. But he didn't hear that. He kept saying, listen, I just want you to come to church on Sunday and just get baptized.
Okay, I mean, I'm not saying doing it badly. I'm just saying,
but what I'm saying is the reason why that always comes off as a soft rub is because it's kind of like dating. You got to build up to that relationship.
Right.
You might not have time, but you gotta read the room. No, you gotta read the room.
Nah.
If I'm changing your tire, there's things I can say that by the end of me changing your tire, I can bring you into that conversation.
But what? Okay, so here's the question: if you say, based off what you just said, if God's giving you the opportunity, if he's like, I put you here, I put that person here. Y'all here at the same time, and you're talking to them, you're helping them, you're doing everything.
And the door is open.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But what I'm saying is...
Because you said read the room is like, read the room, that person go bust hell wide open.
No, so when I'm saying read the room, I'm saying, and I use that very loosely all the time, I use read the room. So what I'm saying is, if I'm changing your tire, I'm having other conversations with you to find out where you are in life to where I can bring this conversation to you.
No, but I'm saying, sometimes I think we saying like, I don't want to offend this person. And I think that's the thing that a lot of Christians are scared of. Is like, even myself, sometimes you'll be like, I don't want to offend this person, so I don't want to tell them about Jesus.
I'm not going to be whipping the tire iron up and down and talking about, so do you know who Jesus is?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Here's what I'm asking.
It's a very, it comes off just very impersonal.
Here's what I'm asking. My dad.
Yeah.
My dad, no matter when, no matter where, didn't matter. If he saw you didn't even have to open the door. Just if he saw a piece of light. Do you know about Jesus?
Yeah.
You want me to tell you about Jesus? He took every opportunity, and me as a kid is like, But I just now looking back at his life, man, like my dad was brave about that. He did not care how you thought. He was never like assuming you weren't a Christian or anything like that. But he never was afraid to ask the question. And I wonder if we've gotten away from that.
But your dad was a gentle spirit.
Yeah.
And when he came up, he wasn't aggressive with it. Like the guy that.
So I'm saying, forget him.
Stop
using him as an example.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about people who do it right. Are we not doing it enough? And I wonder if that contributes to the feeling that we're just finger waggers. We're never selflessly trying to just help people.
Now, I think another reason why people may not do it is because they don't know much. They don't know much. They may just know their personal story of Jesus saved me. I was in a bad place, or I was in a place in my life, and the Lord came in my life, and that's all I know. So, but when you come to somebody like, you know Jesus, and they say, yeah, I know Jesus. Do you really know Jesus? And then y'all go back and forth.
That's a different thing. I'm not talking about getting arguments.
No, I'm not saying arguments. I'm just saying when people question your faith or a conversation may leave you where you like, do I know Jesus? And you know what I'm saying? After asking that person, do they know Jesus?
So let me just clarify. I'm not talking about street preaching. I'm not talking about apologetics. I'm not talking about confrontation. I'm literally talking about people in your life that you have access to. Are you willing to put yourself on the line to say, hey, do you know Jesus? I heard you said, so-and-so died or such and such. Do you want me to pray for you? Can we pray right now? After they say something that gives you an inkling that you may have an in with them, to say, hey, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe he can help you. Like literally go through the motion of witnessing. I don't think we do that enough. We think as Christians, our job is to
bring them to church,
bash what we hate, and then possibly hand them a pamphlet, right? So I just wanted that's why I'm like. That's why I'm like
a pamphlet.
You don't know what a pamphlet is?
I've never been given a pamphlet from my church to hand out.
You don't have.
That was
like
that's
too close to Jehovah's Witness. Like you can just shut down. You're gonna be the Friday
I've seen
scene
stuff on floors when you be walking and it's like a comic book or something. And you
I see
open
pamphlets all the time.
Yeah, I see it too.
But anyway, so the point is that if you didn't exist, if we didn't exist, would it matter? And I think we've gotten away from actually trying to help people. We think it suffices as a Christian to just be angry at sin. And I think that's not enough. I don't think, as we stand right now, our generation, I don't know if we would be missed. Because I don't think we're doing, I'm just talking about myself too. Yeah. I don't think we're doing enough to actually help people.
What generation would have been missed?
I don't know.
Of Christians.
I just know ours. I don't
know.
I'm
just saying. I'm just thinking about like you talk about Billy Graham
I know
a lot.
The first one for sure.
I'm talking about like that Billy, like when we talked about Billy Graham, like a couple when he passed and how he impacted your family.
Yeah.
Like at that time, people were witnessing like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Would that generation be like, man, we really missing these Christians?
And just be careful, because witnessing does not mean getting them to join your political party. It does not mean getting them to support whatever crazy theory you have. It's literally just, do you know Jesus? Let me tell you how to get to know him. That is it. That is it. Yeah. Don't put any extra spice on it. Just the witnessing part.
But I think the sad part is we're in a place right now that everybody is putting a little spice on it versus just giving it talking about the Lord.
You already salt. Yeah. You don't need no more extra seasoning on it.
A lot of people like some adobo.
I would say this. When I say read the room, I mean like read the situation, right? Like if this person is on your job, you have time to build a relationship and to build up to that conversation.
But you don't, though, honestly. You really don't have time with anybody.
Not with everybody.
You don't know. Like, great example.
You got to be like...
A young lady I worked with, when she passed, I've talked to her before. We haven't been going in deep conversation. But at the same time, it hit everybody like a ton of bricks when they was like, everybody, it hit our building like, yeah, such and such passed this morning. She was on her way to work. And she's was in her early 20s. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I'm like, sometimes when you have that opportunity, don't waste that opportunity.
Well, what I'm saying is, so like if I'm an IT person and I'm fixing your computer, right? Yeah. We can have a conversation while I'm fixing your computer, and we might get to that, right? Yeah. But if you are a person that is doing something and y'all are just like in a cross mix and there's a lot of people around, then that might not be your opportunity.
Just don't use it as an excuse.
Yeah. That's the only thing. Don't use it as an excuse, but also don't like you said, don't
be weird.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. We did have poll results for the last question, so let me read that off so y'all can see. It says, if all Christians went on strike, would people or the world notice? And 45% of you said folks would notice after a while. 39% said it would be felt immediately, and 15% said the impact would be negligible. Dang. Wow. All right.
Interesting.
Wow. And these are Christians talking.
So that's just to bring it back around. If we went on strike, would we be missed? Are we really providing value? Make sure you're providing value, not just as a talking head espousing Christian values. I'm talking about actually helping people in their life. That's my challenge to myself. Yeah. That turned out okay.
I know. I like how you twisted.
You didn't trust me at first.
I like how you twisted.
You didn't trust me at first.
And the title could be like, what are we talking about? The title could be "No More Christians," and our faces going.
Yeah. He didn't trust me at first. You saw his face. He was like, "What are we talking about this?"
I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, you in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Ratchet, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.